All right, day one is ended and it is now in the books, and day one is the Accra demo day. We got to golf in eighthsomes and do scrambles, so it was two teams of four doing scrambles. And my partner that was sitting with me is a gentleman from Illinois, works for Cool Clubs, got a hole in one. Way to go, Dennis. The first one for Accra ever in the 15 years of doing it. This was the 15th year that Accra has been giving this, which was the largest collection of top-notch club fitters. We are lucky enough to be part of that invitation. So we went through some Accra product information, which is they really did well this year, getting the word out, and they did the True Temper, which was also an eye-opener on some of the new stuff that they want to do going forward. Just wanted to let you guys know that it's in the books, that you should be seeing some videos popping up, and hopefully this is the beginning to one of the videos. Again, let's go and see which one I put it on and let your scores go low. 2019 Demo Day, Accra and True Temper. Let's find out who this guy is. All right, welcome back. This is not the McGolf Shop. This is Orlando, and it is freezing. All right, but Demo Day, you've seen some of the B-roll for the guys. There's plenty of people waiting to go golf. I was in just a meeting, and they just had some really exciting news on some releases for golf shafts, right? And True Temper, being one of the largest golf shaft manufacturers basically on the planet, has come out with some new stuff for guys like you and I. So we have Bill Lang here. He's been the head dude since I've ever known anybody to be a head dude for True Temper. And he's going to go over some of the new releases and why they're that important.
Thank you, Jim. We have a couple new products this year that we're introducing here at the PGA show. The new Elevate line, there's two different shafts, Elevate Tour and Elevate 95. The idea with these shafts really came from feedback from our tour reps, where the challenges that are out there on tour that are the challenges that you and I see, some of the tour players see. They can't hit the ball high enough, they can't spin it enough, they can't hold a green with their longer irons. Our tour reps were faced with that from a lot of the players that they work with on a weekly basis. And so they came back to us and said, what can you do to help us? We need a standard weight shaft, launches it higher, spins it more so these guys can get the apex that they're looking for and hold the greens. And that's where Elevate Tour was born from. It's a mid-weight product, 115 grams to 120 grams depending on the flex. And it does produce that higher launch angle and that higher spin rate. On our robot, we saw about a degree of increase in launch angle and 400 or 500 increase in RPM spin rate. So that's a pretty good amount. Not everybody's going to see that, but everybody should see a higher launch and more spin than what they've maybe had in the past. So if that's something that you need, definitely check out the Elevate Tour or the Elevate 95, which is an even lighter weight version of that. Something unique to these shafts that we're introducing this year is a vibration suppression system called VSS and VSS Pro. Steel shafts do produce more vibration than graphite. A lot of players have gone to graphite over the years because of maybe some aches and pains, some tendonitis, arthritis types of things. True Temper, we've even had other vibration inserts in the past. If you remember the Sensacore shafts. Now we've got a new product, actually two new products, that are a little bit different than what Sensacore used to do, but they do the same thing. They reduce that unwanted, that negative feedback, negative vibration that is inherent in steel shafts. Elevate Tour features VSS Pro, which reduces 56% of the vibration, and then Elevate 95 features VSS, which reduces 70% of the vibration.
So imagine, if you will, we always talk about how graphite shaft is a tremendous shock absorber. And now, in the past, they had the sensor core, and we'll talk about that much later. But now you can get your steel look and the steel performance with less ache and pain, right? And what he's saying is the pros, a lot better than you and I, and don't need nearly as much vibration reduction, and what we would get is something that gives more. And 70+% is humongous when you're talking about steel. So this is a real plus for you and I. I like this one.
Yeah, this is something that we don't normally do. Usually we introduce products in the U.S. and then kind of force them into our other markets in like Asia and Australia and Europe and things like that. This one is the reverse of that. Last year we introduced the lightest dynamic gold ever, called Dynamic Gold 95 in our Japan market. Obviously lightweight is a benefit in steel, helps you swing the club faster, get more distance, without having to go to graphite. And we've had a lot of products in that lighter weight category, but never in a dynamic gold type of a product. So what we've done for this year is we've brought the Dynamic Gold 95 over to the US market.
Yep. 95
grams, constant weight, all the benefits of lightweight steel, but in a softer kind of profile than the traditional Dynamic Gold shafts have been. So Dynamic Gold has kind of always been known as that tour product. It's really heavy, it hits it low, bends it low. It's only for the strong, really tour type players, but that's obviously a small part of the golf market. Now we've really opened it up with our DG95 that complements the other lighter weight Dynamic Gold shafts that we've introduced over the last couple of years with the Dynamic Gold 120 and the Dynamic Gold 105. Now we've got a 95 gram version of Dynamic Gold that also features the VSS Pro shock absorption insert in it too.
So for those that needed to get it up in the air, like a little lighter shaft, want to get a little bit more height, right? And maybe you've lost a little bit going that way, and you don't want nearly as much sting, this very well may be the thing for you. Like Bill said, this is a Japan to the U.S. kind of situation, so we're going to be seeing I imagine some pretty good performance out of this guy, is where we're going with that.
All right, and then I got one more. Don't want to leave graphite out. Graphite is certainly a viable option in irons. True Temper hadn't really had many graphite iron products because we've been kind of been a steel shaft company for the last 100 years. But we are experts on steel. And our engineers and our product development group kind of stood back one day and said, look, we know how to make steel golf shafts. Why don't we use that expertise to come out with a graphite shaft that performs more like steel than any other graphite shaft out there? And that's where the Catalyst shaft was born. Catalyst features a technology called ISO 6, and what that means is that the difference between steel and graphite is really in the materials and how they react to force and to weight and people swinging them. Graphite can never be as torsionally stable as steel just because of the inherent differences in the material. What we've got here is a product that gets as close as possible to the torsional stability of steel in a graphite shaft. So we focused on the lower 6 inches of the tip section of the shaft to reduce that torque, to make it more act like steel does in turf interaction and at impact. And then through a couple different weighting options, we've got a number of different profiles, anywhere from 80 to 100 gram versions for your stronger players, all the way down to 40 gram for slower club head speeds, and then everything in between the two.
So again, when you see the Catalyst, and I do have a question, the Catalyst, normally when you go to graphite or even steel, you're kind of singled out to single weight categories. So what they've done here now is we've got four, five, 6 different categories from the lightest to the professional.
Yep.
And what it is to make it feel or perform more like the steel. So the guy that has a really hard lag or something like that probably would like this a whole lot. Even if you're not swinging fast, you can still have a really hard lag in there, and this very well, and those are the guys that are probably the hardest to fit because, guys that have always been a good player but age has crept up on them. This is something that could probably be that ticket for you right there. And now, I've seen it's popping up in the Callaway. in the Callaway. Is that the same catalyst or is it a different one?
Yeah, so the PVD cosmetic version, Callaway is our launch partner in the new Epic irons with that, and then our performance fitting centers also have access to the PVD version in both the parallel tip and the taper tip. There's a second cosmetic, which is a black cosmetic that's only going to be available in the parallel version. That's available to everybody out there.
If you like this particular look here and you don't want a black shaft, you're going to have to go to a PFC or PCF. PFC, yeah. There's that mistake. You're going to have to go to a PFC in order to get that particular look. If you go into the aftermarket, it's going to be black. Okay, just to keep that in mind. And the PFC is going to have more options available. Just keep that in mind. So again, Bill, thank you. And let's see your scores go low.